Dear Atlassian, I am writing to regretfully inform you that I will be leaving the company in March. I joined Atlassian over 4.5 years ago, and it's been the best first job I could have started with. In fact, it was my dream job, and I managed to reach it right out of uni. And when I say dream job, I mean it. At the end of high school, I went to a computer science summer camp. Nerd alert, I know. Part of that camp, which was actually really fun, was a bunch of site visits to tech companies. Atlassian was one of them. I remember being a 17-year-old, sitting in the Atlassian offices with Scott Farquhar, CEO, speaking to our group of high school students. He told the story of Atlassian's origins, how they low-key had to tell some white lies to get the company off the ground, and the hustle involved in building a successful business. I was hooked. Okay, the ice cream fridge and the dogs in the office may have been a draw card too. But after that, I was set on working at Atlassian one day. In first year, I stumbled on an ad in a Facebook page promoting Atlassian's APM program. This was the first time I'd heard about product management, and I liked the sound of it. I messaged the user, hi Vincent, who posted it, asking them if first years could apply to this internship program. Unfortunately, he said it was only open to penultimate year students, but I was welcome to go through the app for the experience anyway, which I did. Looks like I'd have to wait. In my penultimate year, I finally applied again. Going through the interview process was scary, but fun. I designed improvements to the Uber Eats app as my take-home assessment. I show and told Keo Box as my whiteboard interview. And finally, I got the call that I had the offer. My first day at Atlassian was nerve-wracking. It started with Atlassian's annual holiday party. As an introvert with social anxiety, I was freaking out, and I drank too much wine that afternoon and had a very regretful night. But nonetheless, it was very memorable. When I came back to Atlassian as a grad, I spent 5 months on the service desk product. But the real turning point was when I got the opportunity to jump onto an entirely new product called Watermelon. We were a small team of 6, being pirates, feeling like a scrappy startup trying to hack away to build an MVP for a status reporting tool. It was the best time of my career so far. Days were spent having deep philosophical conversations on how the product should behave, cold messaging customers on LinkedIn asking them if they wanted to see a demo, and testing our conceptual model with anyone and everyone. I look back on that phase fondly. It was the moment work clicked for me. And after feeling burnt out and a little bit sad from a stint in consulting, it was the first time I realized you could love work and wake up in the morning feeling excited and not have the Sunday scaries every week. As we continued to build Watermelon, it was a huge source of pride to see how the product and the team grew. We went from 6 to 20 team members in the first year, then 40 by the next year, and over 80 now. And at each stage of the product, we learned new things, failed, and pivoted. Across my years, I'll admit it, I would always be interviewing for other roles. Not because I wanted to leave, but because I wanted to stay updated with what was out there and keep my skills sharp in interviewing. Every time I received an offer, I would seriously consider it and then ultimately decide, nah, I still got things to see through here. I'll stay a bit longer. It happened when we were preparing to go beta, when we were then preparing a GA launch, and then again when we were scaling. Every time I'd have an excuse for why I needed to stick around longer and see our baby grow. At the end of 2023, it felt like there had been a big shift in the tech industry, and Atlas had launched for a while. Our focuses were changing into more scale and integrate, and I started getting the feeling that things were finally settling. I'd also been offered a new exciting opportunity, AI at a fast-growing consumer-facing company. It felt like the stars were aligning. Atlas was now well and truly in a different phase of the product, and things were changing quite quickly. Our team was now more than 80. Our leadership team had mostly changed, and the direction of the product seemed to be into its next chapter. It was a moment where I could pause and reflect. Atlassian had always been my dream company, and luckily, it was the first company I started my career at. Now that I'd been here for 4.5 years, in the same team, what was next. I wasn't sure I could see myself doing the same thing for the rest of my life. It genuinely felt like I could close this chapter in my career cleanly and start to think about my next adventure. I needed to put myself in an uncomfortably exciting position in order to grow. I needed to experience new industries in a different type of product surrounded by new faces. I could have just sought a different team in Atlassian, but luckily and unluckily, I had landed in the best team in Atlassian already. So I didn't have much desire to go anywhere else. And I needed to break out of that Atlassian bubble to see how people were doing product in other places. I've always been told only leave when you feel like you have the ability to grow more somewhere else. And so I feel like I'm definitely leaving for the right reasons. All in all, I guess I'm just saying, it's not you, it's me. I think we should see other people, you know? I hope we can still be friends. Goodbye for now, Atlassian, and thank you for the best start in my career I could have possibly asked for. Maybe we'll see each other again in the future.